Hello, welcome back to In the Kitchen with the Dietitian. This is Jane's story. This is my third and final episode on whole grain corn. We're going to make corn tortillas today, and at the end we're going to pop up some popcorn. I have 3 different colors of flour here, all whole grain. The stamp is on them right there, like I've shown you before. I have blue, yellow, and white. We are going to take my tortilla press here, and I will show you some tricks that I have learned with that. I've already measured out my flour. The typical recipe is about 2 cups of masa to about 1 to 1 1/4 cups water, warm water. So we will kind of play around with it when I'm making this to show you. There is no specific amount of water. You just kind of want to start and mess around with the dough until you get the right consistency, and then stop with the water. I have quartered the recipe because I'm going to make 3 different colors. So I have yellow, white, and I have blue already measured out. So I have 60 grams of flour, or a half cup. I weighed it versus measuring it in a cup. And I have just a twist of salt in there. Just to make sure that we get a little bit of flavor in there. Again, we're really controlling the salt in this. Corn tortillas versus flour tortillas, there is a huge difference in the salt content. Typical corn tortillas that you can buy already made are under 50 milligrams per tortilla, so they're pretty low, versus 300 to 400 for a flour tortilla. We will get started. I have a bowl to put the flour in. We will start with the yellow. And like I said, this is 60 grams of yellow corn masa and a twist of the salt shaker. I'm going to pour the water in and move the dough around with my hands to get the right consistency. You see it's kind of coming together there. I'm going to take it out of the bowl now, and I'm going to put it on my countertop, and I'm going to kind of knead it. We're not kneading it to develop gluten because corn is naturally gluten-free. We're more so kneading it to work the liquid through to the grain, to the flour. And if we need to add some more water, I can add some more water in here. And because I weighed the flour out, I know how much flour I had, and I can weigh it again now that I've added water, and then I'll know where I'm at for the next batch. Also, I will be weighing this dough out to break it up into individual servings. And once we get this dough mixed up, we're going to let it set for about 10 minutes. Most resources said to put it under a damp towel. I'm going to put it back in my container that I had the flour in with the lid on it. And because the water is warm that I put in there, it'll keep it moist. Okay, I think that turned out pretty good as far as the consistency of it. I can roll it into a ball. It's not falling apart. It's not sticking to my hands. And there it is. And I'll put that in here, and then I'll move on to the rest. The dough has sat for about 15 minutes, and I weighed it after I got done. I will show you. Each one of them weighed roughly the same. This one is at 124 grams. That one was at 107. And that one was at 116. We need to divide them out so I can get an even amount. We're going to make 5 of each color. So 123 divided by 5. Each one will be about 25 grams. I have 5 sections. I'm going to roll them into balls, and I'm going to put them back in the container while I do the other 2 doughs. I'm going to start without anything in here to flatten it. But I want to show you what you can do. If you can see how thick that is, and you can kind of see how the thickness is when you hold it. That's kind of thick for a tortilla shell. So I'm gonna add a couple pieces of cardboard in here to press it down even more. And so we got it just a little bit flatter. All of the tortillas are pressed out. I have 15 sitting here. I have my griddle that's all heated up and ready to go. I chose the avocado oil one because it's got a higher smoke point, and this is getting pretty hot. I have it set at 350. We're only gonna let them cook like a minute on each side and then they should be done. Flip. We got the dough all made, we divided it out, we pressed them out, and now we've cooked them. They are ready to go. They are a little thicker than store-bought ones, but this is how they look. They're kind of like street taco size. I want to go over the nutritionals. We have 15 tortillas here, and each one of them is almost 45 calories. Half gram of fat, about 9 grams of carbohydrates, and about 1 gram of protein. Each tortilla has 12 grams of whole grain. So we're almost at a 1 ounce equivalent for one tortilla. 1 ounce equivalent is equal to 16 grams of whole grain. I'm going to show you next how I'm going to use these in my dinner. I have some chicken I took out of my freezer. I have some low-fat cheese here too. This is a serving. It's Cabot, sharp cheddar, reduced fat, 70 calories, 4 grams of fat. Me and my husband will be sharing this sweet potato. It was about 120 grams. I steamed it in my microwave, and I'm just gonna dice it up and put it into the quesadilla, along with some spinach and some onion that I had left in my fridge, diced up, and some poblano peppers that I already had diced up for another recipe. Just kind of using things up in here. So this recipe has actually been inspired by something off of the USDA My Plate, but I'm not totally following the recipe. We are gonna go over to the stove and I will get started. This will be kind of a combo episode where we're doing in the kitchen with the dietitian, and at the same time we're doing what this dietitian eats. Get my pan of spray. And we're just gonna drop in the onion and the poblanos. And this can be totally customizable. You can do whatever you want. If you didn't want to use the poblanos, then you could use green, red, yellow bell peppers. Or if you like it really spicy, you could use jalapenos. All right, so that's good. We got the vegetables all cooked, and I took my sweet potato that I had and I just diced it up. And I went ahead and broke up everything else. You'll see when I go overhead. So I'm gonna just kind of smash down the sweet potatoes. And then I'll take half of this. My chicken. And then half of my cheese. Other tortilla on top. All right, so I have dinner cooked. I have my quesadillas here, and then the other serving of them too. And all I'm gonna do is top it with some salsa. And we have one last thing before I go to enjoy my dinner. We are going to pop some popcorn, and I'm gonna show you how I season that up. I'm gonna bring my corn segment to an end with some whole kernel popcorn. I'm gonna pop it in my air popper, and I'm gonna give you an idea on how you can enjoy some in a low sodium way. right, so that popcorn you might notice is a little bit white. I used a baby white, extra small and tender popcorn. I take a little bit of cooking spray, whatever you want to use is fine. We could have used that avocado oil I was using. I'm using this because it sprays a little bit finer. So I kind of created my own flavor profile for my popcorn. I took roasted garlic and red bell pepper, no salt added. Chicken fajita, again, no salt. Taco truck seasoning mix, very little. And Mrs. Dash Southwest Chipotle. And then the ones that did have sodium in them, I just made sure that I used a 1/4 teaspoon. So a 1/4 teaspoon of these, 1/2 teaspoon each of the other ones. And then I just stuck it in my bowl and whisked it up. So that's what we're looking at. And then we're just going to sprinkle that on. Shake it around, give it another spray. Again, sprinkle it. Another spray, and another spray. And so now we've just made our own popcorn, 140 calories, 40 grams of whole grain. So the 2.5 ounce grain equivalent there in that popcorn. So good snack. We want to make sure that if we have popcorn as our snack again, we need to take in some protein with it, maybe a cheese stick, low fat cheese stick, some yogurt, something. Again, don't eat the popcorn all by itself. That's a lot of carbohydrates at one time. I hope you enjoyed my series on whole grain corn, and I'm not going to say what the next grain is because I'm not really sure what it's going to be. But look for it on In the Kitchen with the Dietitian, and I will see you next time.